Hi and welcome to this blog. Today I'm going to talk about a case where for the first time I realized how important it is to match the approach to the patient. Rather than having a preconceived idea of what is the type of approach I'm going to use for somebody, depending on the circumstances, if you can really select the approach for the patient, then time is no barrier. Nothing is a problem because there's hardly any resistance and the person just flows, and you can actually help them much better rather than sticking with your own way of doing things. So let's have a look at this person. Now, this is a 20-year-old boy, and he used to come at a charitable institute where I was working in India, in Mumbai. And the format of the whole institute was, or the clinic was, that there were about 50, 70 patients sitting outside, and you had to make very quick prescriptions. So every prescription would take not more than about 10 to 15 minutes at the most. And so basically what we were working on, if you realize, which I now realize is at stage 1 and 2. And so there were like 3 or 4 important peculiars, 1 or 2 ailments from, a bit of causative factors, intercurrents, anti-miasmatic remedies, and real therapeutics. Referring the Matra Medica very quickly, Alan's keynotes at our sides, and that was the type of prescription. It was fun. It was a real interesting sort of, and because the patients expected that, most of them wanted remedies for piles and headaches and backaches or sciaticas, and those are the types of patients who actually came in. So this boy, he had been coming there for the last 6 months. So the history was he's been having these severe constricting headaches every day. So he was on tablet migranil every day. He's been visiting doctors, he's been diagnosed as tension headaches, but they're so severe that he had to have these, painkillers didn't work. And now they're more congestive and throbbing since the last 6 months. And he has been on homeopathy. So, there were headache mixes, and then there were also, he was given natramure because there was a history of disappointment in love somewhere. There was, he was given silesia, he was given calcarb, glonon and belladonna was a part of the headache mix. And most of these helped. However, he was still suffering. He was still coming, and definitely there was something more that this person was trying to say every time, but there was just no time. And now he's been getting some panic attacks. So he was seeing a psychiatrist. So this was when I decided, let's see what's happening. If he is at a stage higher than what we were doing, obviously he should be able to really come out with information quite easily. And so I asked him, what happened 6 months back? And immediately he said, I got rejected for the police training course. And I remember sitting in my office and feeling very weak, as if I would die. Now, he was working as a fitness trainer in a private gym. And the moment he got that call, he felt as if he would faint, and he couldn't walk. And then he said, I got absolutely scared of the future. What if I get no permanent job and there will be no career left? Now, this was taken before as ailments from loss of ambition. And there were a few remedies given. I think sepia was one of them. But I decided to find out what exactly that meant to him, because that will tell me something more about him and what the job meant to him. And so I said, talk about that. And without me actually asking him what it was, he said, my father will soon retire and the government apartment we're staying now will be gone. So he's staying in an apartment given by the government because his father is in that job. And now everyone wants him to have a permanent job in some government post so that he can now get them a house and the family can be supported. And then he says, I love my job as a fitness trainer. He's earning quite well and he's really loving it, but it's not a government job. It's a private job. So it was so important for me to get this job in the police department. And then I asked him, why the police? What it meant to him? And he said, you need to be fit and strong and you have to protect the society. But it also is, it's a government job, it's permanent. And it gives you accommodation, it grants you old age pension after retirement. And that's exactly what he was getting out of that particular job, and that's lost. And he said, I've also developed these acute panic things, this anxiety disorder, and I feel the sharp stabbing in my chest. The heart starts palpitating and it penetrates in my chest whenever I'm exercising. And then I said, how did it start? And he says, since I broke with my girlfriend last month. And I said, talk about that. So he said he's been seeing this girl for a long time and he wanted to marry her in the future, but his parents were opposed to this marriage. And so he spoke with the girl and they decided to stop seeing each other. But the girl still keeps calling him. And now he says, I'm scared. Whenever the phone rings, I tremble. I'm scared of talking to her on the phone in front of my parents. What if my parents come to know about this? What if they still think I'm going on with her? And then I asked, how is it affecting you? And he said, they have lots of expectations about me. I have been a very well-behaved boy in my entire family. I've been working in a part-time job to support my family since I was in the 7th grade. I constantly think now that they're observing me, they're talking about me all the time. I think they're saying that I was a nice boy and now I've really become bad. I did this wrong thing that I'm seeing this girl for so long and now I tremble even when I see her on the street. I feel I'm doing something wrong and it was not something that's expected of me. And then the panic started. And he says, I constantly worry about my health now because now I cannot work properly, I can't exercise, the headaches and the chest palpitations and the pains all start when I start exercising. And I now worry financially, how will I support my family? And my father is about to retire in a few months' time. And that was the story. So you see, there was hardly any questions asked, but whatever, and he just gave this information in a span about 10 minutes or 15 minutes. And then I realized there is a definite mind and body connection here. There was an emotional issue and now it's manifested as the headache. It's this causative factor with clear qualified symptoms which made me decide this is a place where I can actually use the Kenton approach. I don't have to stick with my stage 1 and 2 approaches because there is a person behind which is really expressed quite well. And doesn't take a long time if it's a Kenton approach. You don't have to spend an hour with him. If the person is at that stage, they will explain and express their symptoms very elaborately. It's just where you just have to touch upon them and ask the right questions. So let's look at what the symptoms and the rubrics you choose because they are very important if you're really going to make a right prescription of using this approach. Now, the first thing is it's not about just disappointment and ambition. Because losing that job was also about losing security, losing money, and losing a place to live. And also that problem with breaking with that girl was not about disappointment in love. It was about losing his identity, which his family and parents expect him to be a good boy, fulfilling the expectations of a family and providing them and supporting them when they retire. That was what he was actually scared of losing. And this was where the rubrics would form. So for me, the whole totality was about this anxiety, about losing health and family and money, and these were the things which made him anxious. And this absolute fear of poverty, and the sensitivity to criticism and reproach. It doesn't matter what his present situation is. He is actually earning quite well, but that isn't what he is at. He's just thinking about this whole future and this extreme fear and anxiety. And this is being expressed like with timidity and this bashfulness and really, yielding disposition and the confidence or lack of confidence while he's speaking with people and the sweating of his palms and these headaches which are manifesting. So all of them came as a part of the totality. And then I also used the group analysis to confirm the remedy. Now, the remedy which was strongly coming up was Calcarea silicata, and I didn't know a lot about that. So I started to understand, let's look at other books which come up with these, which have information about the remedy. And I looked into Jan Cholton's group analysis and also the substance of homeopathy, where the periodic table has been elaborated. So the thing about calcilicata was my security, my financial and social security is dependent on my fulfilling the duty and the role expected of me and obligation to others in my family or community. And there was the strong community theme. And in a community, you have people who are respected and their views and their opinions are taken as final. And everyone follows them, and that maintains the structure of that community. And this security is for everyone. And if somebody tries to upset that, they would be actually, be out of the family and the society or the community. And that causes insecurity and shame. And then there are themes of both calcarea and silica. Like a calcarea, he feels insecure and needs protection. And like a silica, he needs to maintain a particular standard. Hence, there was this synthetic prescription which was coming up where I need to maintain a standard to get the protection I need. And this is very commonly seen, when parents expect their young kids to do certain things and the kids are really struggling under the pressure and the expectations of the family. And I've given this remedy a lot of times later on as well, and this theme is constant in most of the cases. So he was given calcilicata, 200, one dose, and he was called back after 15 days. And for the first time, you could see that he wasn't burdened with the pressure. There was this relaxed freshness in the whole follow-up. And for the first time, he mentioned there was just one mild headache in the entire fortnight, and there were no panic attacks whatsoever. And then we repeated the dose as and when required in the next 6 months. And subsequent follow-ups were the chest pains gradually reduced, the headaches reduced in frequency, and they completely stopped at the end of 6 months. And then he remained well after that. So this case for me was very important to just realize you don't have to really struggle a lot if you can match the approach to the person. And that was the whole theme. It's like, where is your patient at? And if you can find where he's at, and that's very possible in just that first 2 or 3 minutes when they first start talking about their symptoms, and they'll connect and they'll relate to different things in their lives. And if that they're going there, you just have to open up and go with them. And if that happens, then you get the connection which you're looking for right in that first 10 minutes. And then the follow-ups and everything really becomes a part of the story. Now, in this case, that remedy helped him for a much more longer time. Sometimes it can happen that the remedy might stop working after some time and you'll have to find another remedy at a higher stage, which is fine as well, because now you've really helped them and connected with them. That barrier dissolves with the previous remedy and you can actually flow without any resistance, even in the future follow-ups. So I hope that helps you as well in your practice, and try it next time and see what happens and share your experiences. Thank you so much and see you next time. Bye-bye.